Before you start packing boxes for North Carolina, do one thing first: slow down. Don't skim or jump to number one. If a place sounds amazing until you see what it actually costs to live there, you're exactly who this video is for. North Carolina has an incredible reputation right now. Mild winters, no desert heat, mountains on one side, beaches on the other. A cost of living that, on paper, still looks friendlier than a lot of the country. That's why so many people from New York, California, and the Midwest are throwing darts at a map and saying, "We're moving to North Carolina." But here's the part the relocation blogs and real estate TikToks tend to leave out. Not every North Carolina town is a win. Some are cheap because opportunity dried up. Some are gorgeous, but priced like a luxury resort. A few are growing so fast that daily life feels like one long construction detour. We're counting down 12 places in North Carolina that consistently underperform once you factor in housing prices, wages, crime, infrastructure, insurance, and long-term livability. Some will surprise you. A few will annoy you. All of them earn their spot. So subscribe and let's look behind that white picket fence. Rocky Mount is the classic, looks like a deal until you look around town. On paper, it's one of the cheapest housing markets in the state. Typical home values are under $200,000, roughly half of what you'd pay in big metros like Raleigh or Charlotte. But the reason is simple. The local economy never really found a strong next act. A lot of work is still in older industries, and there aren't many high-paying jobs pulling new talent in. You feel it when you drive through. Some streets are well kept. Others have empty storefronts and buildings that look like they've been waiting for a new tenant since the 90s. There are good people here, but there isn't a lot of momentum. Crime is part of the equation too. Locals will tell you there are parts of town you learn to avoid after dark. That shapes everything. Where you stop for gas, where your kids ride their bikes, whether you feel okay walking the dog in the evening. It pushes insurance premiums up and quietly erodes the peace of mind that brought a lot of people south in the first place. If you're retired or fully remote and just want the lowest possible mortgage, Rocky Mount can technically work. But if you're hoping for career options, a lively downtown, and a strong sense of this place is going somewhere, it's a hard sell. Goldsboro runs on one big engine, the Air Force Base. That's both the strength and the weakness. The base brings stability and a steady flow of people. It also means the whole town's rhythm is tied to military life. Rotations, deployments, people constantly arriving and leaving. If you're not connected to that world, it can feel like you're living next to a city that isn't really yours. Homes are relatively affordable, sit in the low $170,000 range, a full $150,000 under the statewide average and way below national levels. Day-to-day costs are lower than in Raleigh or Charlotte. Cost of living calculators make it look like a slam dunk. Cheap mortgages, cheap rent, cheap day-to-day expenses. But once you look beyond the price tag, the picture gets narrower. Many jobs revolve around the base or basic services. If you're in a different field, you'll either be commuting or compromising. There's also the sensory part nobody mentions in glossy videos. Aircraft noise, traffic around the gates, and the general always something going on buzz that never fully quiets down. For military families or people who know exactly why they're going, Goldsboro can be fine. If you're just picking a cheap dot on the map and hoping it magically fits your life, you're rolling dice you don't need to roll. High Point wears its past proudly. At one time, being the furniture capital of the world meant jobs, trade shows, and money. Today, that legacy is more marketing slogan than economic engine. It is one of those places that feels caught between eras. The old furniture industry still casts a big shadow. Huge buildings, trade show spaces, and signs of a time when the whole world came here to buy sofas. Today, outside of a few big events, a lot of that infrastructure just sits. You can feel the echo. Housing isn't the problem. You can find decent places for reasonable prices in the mid-200s. The issue is energy and opportunity. Many people with ambition look to Greensboro, Winston-Salem, or the Triangle for their next moves. High Point is where you live if you already have a reason to be there, not where you go to build something new. Downtown has pockets of charm, some nice cafes, renovated spaces, but it's not buzzing every night. If you like quiet and don't care much about entertainment, that can be fine. If you want a sense of growth and variety, you'll be driving a lot. It's not a runaway city. It's a know exactly what you're signing up for city. Concord and neighboring Kannapolis used to be their own thing. Mill towns with NASCAR bragging rights and a slower pace of life. Then Charlotte exploded and the overflow hit. Now they're classic boom belt suburbs. Neighborhoods popping up in old fields, traffic lights added as fast as crews can install them, and more out-of-state plates every month. Housing still costs less here than in Charlotte proper, but the gap is closing. The real problem is friction. Getting anywhere during rush hour can feel like a full-contact sport, especially along the main corridors and near big shopping centers or the speedway. Simple errands that used to take 10 minutes stretch into half an hour. On big event weekends, local roads can feel overwhelmed. Families also feel the growing pains. Schools working to keep up. Youth sports and activities with wait lists, public spaces that suddenly feel very crowded for small towns. If you want to bet on growth and can tolerate noise, traffic, and orange construction barrels, Concord/Kannapolis can still make sense. If your picture of North Carolina is quiet streets and short drives, you'll be disappointed. Wake Forest used to be the Triangle's if you know town. Charming historic core, trees, slower pace, and a short drive into Raleigh. Now it feels like everyone got the memo at once. New subdivisions are everywhere. So are builder signs, dump trucks, and roads half torn up for widening. Houses that once felt like affordable alternatives are now well past the $400,000 mark and trending closer to $500,000 in newer subdivisions. A town that once felt like the budget-friendly alternative now sits squarely in upper middle-class only territory. The town still looks good on the surface, parks, sidewalks, families out in the evenings, but a lot of people who live there spend most of their waking hours somewhere else. It's a commuter town now. That means long drives, crowded main roads, and a rhythm built around work in other cities. Socially, it can feel a bit segmented. Neighborhoods sorted by price point, pockets, where everyone is in roughly the same life stage, and less organic meet people at the corner coffee shop energy than you'd expect from how pretty it looks. If you're chasing schools and like the feel of a planned suburb, Wake Forest can work. Just don't confuse used to be a hidden gem with still a bargain. Fayetteville is where a lot of people from out of state get seduced by one number, the home price. Yes, homes cost less here with values in the low $200,000 range, far below national averages. You can buy more house for less money than in most of the state. That's the pitch. But once people move in, they start talking about different numbers. How many times their car's been broken into, what their insurance costs, and which parts of town they've learned to avoid. You'll hear a lot of know your neighborhood before you sign. That shapes everything. Where your kids can run around, which grocery store you use, whether you feel comfortable coming home late from a night shift. Add in the constant churn from the military. People move in, make friends, then get orders and leave. That's the reality of a base town. Some folks love it and roll with the changes. Others find it draining to rebuild their social circle every couple of years. If you're deeply tied to the military community, Fayetteville makes sense. If not, you need to go in with very clear eyes about the trade-offs. Wilmington is dangerously good at selling a dream. Spend a weekend there and it's easy to fall in love. Riverfront walks, historic streets, beach day just a short drive away, sunset over the water. It feels like a movie set in all the best ways. Living there full-time is a different story. Housing has gotten noticeably more expensive, ranging in the mid-400s, and because it's coastal, you're not just paying a mortgage, You're paying for storm season stress. Wind, rain, and the constant possibility of the big one never fully leave your mind. Insurance isn't just a checkbox here. It's a line item you feel. You also learn the rhythms of tourists, busy summers, packed beach parking lots, and restaurants that feel like they're aimed more at visitors than locals. Then in the off-season, parts of town get quiet, almost too quiet, for months. Work can also be a sticking point. There are good jobs, but a lot of the economy leans on hospitality and lower-pay service roles. If you're not bringing your own income or landing one of the better positions, the math can feel tight. Wilmington is an incredible place to visit and can be a great place to live if you've got the budget and temperament for coastal life. But it is not the easy, breezy bargain a long weekend might suggest. Asheville is North Carolina's mountain darling, and that's exactly the problem. The setting is ridiculous. Mountains, trails, rivers, live music, art, breweries on every corner. It's weird in all the right ways, if that's your thing. The problem is how many people decided it's their thing. Housing costs shot up sitting north of $425,000. And a big slice of what's available is tied up as vacation rentals, second homes, or quirky cabins meant to be booked, not lived in. That leaves fewer options for year-round residents and higher prices for what's left. Most of the jobs? Restaurants, bars, tourism, healthcare, and small creative businesses. A lot of those don't pay enough to comfortably cover Asheville-level rents or mortgages. You end up with a city where many locals serve people who came there to escape for the weekend. Day-to-day living has its own frictions: tight hilly streets, tricky parking, older homes that need more maintenance, and a political climate that can feel very intense if you're not aligned with it. Asheville is incredible in doses: a week, a month, a season. Living there long-term is more of an emotional and financial commitment than the Instagram photos let on. Chapel Hill is almost impossibly pleasant. Tree-lined streets, a walkable downtown, strong schools, UNC's campus energy, and top-tier healthcare courtesy of the university hospital system. It's basically the brochure for ideal college town. But life inside a brochure has a price. Houses here are expensive, well above $500,000 and rising. Rent isn't far behind. There's only so much land near the core, and you're competing with professors, doctors, longtime locals, and families who've decided this is where we're raising our kids, no matter what it costs. Then you add the student factor. Game days turn quiet streets into slow-moving traffic. Some neighborhoods are calm, others are full of rental houses with a rotating cast of roommates. Noise, parking battles, and late-night energy aren't limited to the campus. Daily life is also governed by rules: parking rules, zoning rules, historic preservation rules. They keep the town beautiful and put together. But they can also make simple things, like where to park for dinner, more frustrating than you expect. If you're already in the university/medical world, or arriving with a big salary and savings, Chapel Hill is fantastic. If you're hoping North Carolina will be cheap and easy, and you point at this place, you're in for a shock. Cary is what happens when someone tries to design pleasant from scratch, and mostly pulls it off. The town is clean, safe, and organized. Neighborhoods are carefully planned. Parks are everywhere. Schools are strong, crime is low. It regularly shows up on lists of best places to live. But it comes with a specific flavor of life: highly controlled. Most of the newer neighborhoods are run by homeowners associations. That means rules. Rules about what your house looks like, where you can park, what you can store outside, even sometimes what kind of holiday decorations you can put up. Some people love this. It keeps everything neat. Others eventually realize they don't want to pay to feel micromanaged at home. Culturally, Cary leans heavily family-oriented and kid-centric. Sports leagues, school events, playgrounds. If you're raising children, it can be fantastic. If you're single, child-free, or retired, and not into that scene, You may feel like you're always just outside the main conversation. On top of that, the cost of living is among the highest in the state. You're paying premium prices for a polished, fairly uniform lifestyle. If that's exactly what you want, great. If you want variety, grit, or spontaneity, this is not where you'll find it. The Outer Banks look like a dream calendar come to life. Rolling dunes, wooden piers, lighthouses, dolphins off the beach. It's hard not to fantasize about retiring there after a good vacation. It looks like the distilled version of East Coast coastal life. But living on a sandbar is very different from visiting one. Median home values in towns like Kill Devil Hills and Nags Head are in the $400,000 plus range, with many properties far above that thanks to ocean proximity and short-term rental potential. Every errand involves a drive, often on a 2-lane road that's the only way in or out. Storms don't just make the news, they change your week. You board up windows, track forecasts, and occasionally evacuate. Even if the big hits are rare, the mental load of always storm watching adds up. Because so much of the economy is tourism, the whole area has two personalities. Summer, crowded stores, busy roads, packed beaches, short-term renters everywhere. Winter, quieter, some businesses closed, fewer neighbors around. Some people love that rhythm. Others feel like they're either in the way of someone else's vacation or living in a half-shut-down town. Simple things, getting specialized medical care, seeing family regularly, flying in or out, require planning and patience. As you age, those logistics get heavier. If you truly understand coastal life and are prepared financially and emotionally for isolation, storms, and seasonality, the Outer Banks can be magic. If you're basing your decision on a long weekend in July, don't. Charlotte takes the top spot, not because it's unlivable, but because the gap between the story and the daily reality is the widest. Over the last decade, Charlotte has branded itself as the Sunbelt's next big thing. Major banking hub, constant skyline cranes, professional sports, shiny neighborhoods, fresh-built suburbs for miles. And for a while, that but cheaper part was true. Then, the people came. A lot of people. Prices followed. Neighborhoods that were once overlooked are now hot. Suburbs that used to be quiet are packed. Rents and home prices moved up fast enough that locals who thought they were ahead of the curve found themselves chasing the market. Charlotte now sits well above the state average, pushing toward $380,000 and climbing, with many popular neighborhoods commanding much more. Daily life means traffic. Crosstown drives that used to be quick now require buffer time. Construction is constant, new apartments, new offices, new roads trying to catch up. There are good pockets of walkability, but a lot of the metro still expects you to have a car and use it a lot. The city is also very segmented. There are comfortable, leafy neighborhoods where life feels easy, and there are parts of town where underinvestment, crime, or lack of opportunity are very real. Your experience of Charlotte depends heavily on which side of those lines you end up on. If you're moving in with a strong salary, a remote work job, or big city equity, Charlotte can absolutely work. You'll get access to an airport, pro sports, culture, and a growing food scene. But if you're coming in at or below the local average income, expecting big city life at small city prices, you're going to feel squeezed. North Carolina as a whole can be an amazing place to live. But a driver's license that says North Carolina doesn't guarantee a good life. Some towns are cheap because they're stuck. Some are expensive because they've been turned into lifestyle products. Others are in the middle of growing up and haven't figured out how to handle it yet. That's why breaking things down city by city matters more than arguing about the state. Cheap homes can hide a lot of stress. Expensive zip codes don't always deliver the happiness they charge for. If this helped you see past the brochure version of North Carolina, hit subscribe. Knowing where not to live is just as important as finding your perfect spot. See you next time.